someone from the insurance industry, we have financial sector, and we asked Ahsan to stay on the stage so we could have some perspective from the vendor side as well. So just to open up the discussion, AI there's a lot of hype around AI. Everyone is talking about AI, and it's like the North Star. Everyone is saying this is where we want to be. So the first question to my panelists is, what do you think? It's more of a hype, or do you think there's actually going to be a lot of changes when it comes to AI? And you can be specific to your industry, so we can see how it's affecting your industry overall as well.
Good question. And it's with everything that involves technology, the hype always starts first, and then we actually see whether it's John heavy. And let's be honest, the way technology has been changing the last few years, I guess you can say the change per year is significantly faster than it was some years ago. So the way we're jumping to the next level it's almost instantaneous. That before you've even implemented what's there now, there's something new out there that's going to probably make it obsolete very quickly. Having said that, right now, yes, it does seem like a hype. And I think part of that problem is the fact that we don't really know what to do with it. Right? So we have ideas in our head, and so we're bouncing some of them off of Ahsan and his team, that yaar ye mufta hame karke de do, hum ye try kar lete, wo try kar lete, hum ye dekh lete. But you know, the point is that we're not really sure yet. But we all know how we do our business. And so we want to try and engage this technology to improve our business. So, and that's the example I gave was something that we're really trying to do right now at our end. And we're a very data rich company in that sense. Unfortunately, the data has been collected over the last 30 years, over thousands of people. And at that time, nobody bothered to make the data structured. So first thing we're having to do is structure the data. So no matter how good the system is that I get from there, until I've done my homework at my end. So I think in a nutshell, yes, there is a bit of a hype going on, but that's inevitable. That happens with any time something new comes along. The bottom line is, if the organizations have actually thought out what they want to do with the technology, is it just because साहब ने कहा है तो चले हम उसको implement कर देंगे तो फिर वो उसी तरीके से implement होगा. But if the people down the line and the management are all on board and they know why they want to do what they do, and they do it piecemeal. Okay, let's take this small bit, let's see how that goes, let's move forward. Let's take this. And so that's what, like insurance, we're a very people-intensive business right now. We have thousands of people on the street who sell our product, who take a very long time to do that process. Now, if at some point I could digitize that whole process and get the guy to do the same thing with an AI agent on the system, wow, I've revolutionized how insurance is sold. But my AI agent needs to be pulled at heartstrings just like my real agent does, which eventually I'm sure would be possible. So as long as we know what we want to do, then the hype makes sense. If we just take it for the hype, then obviously it's going to be a waste.
So Shariq sir, what do you think?
You know, this is some technology that we could not even think of a couple of years ago, but now that it is there right in front of us, I think the sheer capability of AI, if you don't use it, I think that is going to be really, you know, it's a sad story if you don't use it. So for banks, I think there are many use cases, and it's just a matter of how we, you know, put it to a commercial use. Now, you talk about customer services, you talk about credit analysis, you talk about writing codes, you talk about HR, you talk about recruitment, hiring, everything. I think the use cases are there just all around you. It's just a matter of, you know, number one, having a platform where you can really deliver these services to different departments within the bank where they can use it more smartly. And then number two, developing the culture, you know, where of really trusting this new technology with decision making. Because you see, when you talk about automation or digitalization in a bank, there are multiple ways you do it. But always you're automating a process which is repetitive in nature, which is like a routine process, and you bring in automation or bring in digitization. But now with AI, it's like, it's not just digitizing or automating, it is like really replacing a human altogether for a lot of these processes, where the AI can make a decision, and then RPA maybe, or some automation or some process delivers it actually. So I think it's not in hype. A lot of banks have decided to look into it already. Meezan Bank has also implemented a platform. We call it Meezan GPT, and this platform really, we have put in about over 300 documents in it, internal documents, SOPs, regulations, and everything. So, a new staff, for example, who joins the bank, he needs to know a lot of things, and the information was so all over the place that it was always very difficult for him to find the right answers, calling up at the head office and then seeking answers from there, or looking for document. It was always very, very difficult. But now you can just simply engage with Meezan GPT just like you would engage with Chat GPT or Gemini or whatever, and get an answer in a very, very nice way, because the documents are fed up into this platform. They've been, the platform is trained on all of these subject matters, and he gets the answer. So I think this is the beginning, but as we go forward, it's not just going to be conversational and informative. It's going to be more deep in terms of doing credit analysis, for example, and writing codes, for example, within IT and all of that. Because right now you're shy of putting your stuff onto cloud, but if you have a locally hosted LLM which can give you all of these things, and you're not worried about information going out in the cloud, then you can do a lot of these things very, very easily. So I think there's a bright future for it, and the sooner we adopt it, the better it is.
I think, Shariq, you've captured everything that I wanted to say. Yeah. So I just wanted to sort of take lead from where Shariq left and Azeem aapne jo baat kari. I think the conversation now is moving beyond digitization, because digitization has already happened in the last 10 years and probably has been expedited through what has happened to all of us during the time of COVID, right? So now the conversations are moving towards decisioning and the ability to trust the decisioning that AI is able to generate, the ability to implement those decisions, because there's no point that if AI is going to make that decision for you, you still have a 4I principle that somebody at the back end is still going to review those cases just because somebody is not comfortable, right? And that brings us to the more important thing, that what people need to do now going forward is to upskill themselves in the implementation, in its utilization, and in understanding how this is built and how this works. Shariq's already mentioned quite a few things like credit analysis, and like Meezan, almost every other bank has already started doing those things in terms of customer onboarding, right? No longer you really need to visit a branch to open a bank account anymore, right? The fintechs have already come in and played a major role in making things easier. But linking AI on things like personal finance management, budgeting, creating more value for that end user and going beyond the scope of financial services. The previous panel spoke about, Dr. Sara spoke about Saif Kahani, right? So imagine creating an AI agent within a banking app that effectively looks at your spending behavior, and there you need to then partner with a lot of other players, like for example Telco, Jazz, bring them in, and then it tells you what you've been up to and what you're doing, what you're looking at, and allowing you to sort of make things easier, make things faster, and that's the sort of the role. And then effectively, I think what we don't understand is something that we are generally as a human we are worried about, right? So linking that to academia, a lot of our kids, whoever is sort of doing AI, I think there's a lot of self-taught happening in Pakistan, right? The education sector has yet to formally adopt an AI learning mechanism. What do you teach them over there, right? How do you build this? What tools do you use? How do you build the codes and all? So a lot of these kids are actually coming out of universities, or even at universities and colleges, they're doing a lot of side hustle stuff, right? And that's where the incubation center sort of comes in and creates a platform for them. But that is what Pakistan now really needs to invest on. So yes, it's a early movement, but it is here to stay. It is here to impact our lives in everyday life, beyond banking, beyond financial services, medical. It's going to make your life easier. And the adoptability will be helped if the regulation, the regulators sort of are supportive. The affordability is made easier. The awareness of how do you access this, and the ethical norms that surround the use of AI in decisioning. If those get sort of sorted, I think this is going to make our lives a whole new.
So, Ahsan, because you work with a lot of customers when it comes to AI use cases, so what's your perspective on that?
It's a reality. It's a reality, big reality. And as you said, automation and everything is there. And what I recall that reasoning, again, in AI, reasoning is a big factor that before did not exist. Where, we sort of, and I've seen that large enterprises, all of them, so it is, you go to any sort of utilities, any store, and you see TVs, AI-enabled TVs, so it's a fun as well, but it's a reality that a lot of businesses are now implementing, they're sort of implementing in specific areas, in audit or in customer experience side. We did a project where we created, we gave different personas, legal experts or environmentalists, and, they're reasoning amongst each other, and then they're telling the developers that what needs to be done to mitigate that impact. So I see the AI developer then started coding because, obviously coders in their whole lifeline, they put all whenever they had problems, they put it on blogs and stuff, and then they got solutions for that. So the machine can really learn from all of that. So I'm seeing this as a reality. It's an everyday talk. It's sometimes, when I'm on a flight, it's a 4-hour flight, I'm going to take a nap, the person next to me wants to talk about AI. So it's a reality, it's here, and for especially kids, right? I mean, even kids, we all need to relearn, right? Or unlearn and relearn. And even when we sort of in schools, we see that education systems, they're not very positive, and they're sort of very, no ChatGPT, no this. I think it needs to be really included in our schools as well at an early age, because this is a reality. It's going to change the way humans work, because we all are going to work with machines.
So there is hype, there is some work being done. Going back to Azeem Sir, so what do you think is the major challenges you face, especially in an organization like yours, where you have adaptation challenges for AI? And because we're talking about digitization, and how does the AI, you think, can play a part in the digitalization as well? So if you can talk about some of the challenges, and I think it was just said that adaptation is another thing where you need to focus on. So what do you think is happening around that in your organization?
Adaptation obviously is going to be a challenge, and wherever, as our banking friends will say, that wherever I'm going to bring that efficiency, I will be able to bring down the number of people who are needed to do that job. Just today I was speaking to someone in our mohalla who, it took 2 months for them to get their settlement check from their employer. और वो भी एक चेक बना जिसके लिए अब उनको ऑफिस जाके उसको पिक करना पड़ेगा. Why? ठीक है, हाँ, exactly. Why sign? Why check? Why? I mean, there's so many things that come up that could have been. Digitization is something we do to improve our processes, to make them streamlined, to make them faster. AI obviously will next level that. It'll just make it super swift, super quick, because the issues related to humans will no longer be there, and at least the rudimentary donkey work will be done by the system. So there's no denying that is going to come. Whether that adaptability is there, that will take, as Ahsan rightly mentioned, a lot of learning and relearning. And even now, if you walk into most organizations and you discuss AI, the first thing that people will say, "Mere job pe kya hoga?" Because to be honest, a lot of our businesses, we're doing a lot of inefficient work. Because we just sort of legacy है, वो चल रही है, ऐसे ही चलती रहेगी. Government का तो हम पूछे ही ना, we're just talking about the private sector here. So that relearning, learning, education, adaptability, and let's be honest, our curriculum right now is just horrendous. I mean, मैं अगर technology को छोड़ भी दूँ, मैं सिर्फ ethics और morality की बात कर लूँ. I was talking to an organization the other day which works on character development, and they're working with schools. And they pointed out that all of our problems as a society derive from this one point. Yet, जानते हुए हमने अभी तक उसका कुछ भी नहीं किया. So, वो change लाना obviously is going to be a big, big challenge. So schools want to be up to date, and we all have to do our part. We have to tell people, keep educating, keep grooming. और कुछ सर पे पड़ेगा तो फिर खुद ही सीखना ही पड़ेगा, because there's no other way to compete. I mean, I know in the insurance sector, my regulator is constantly squeezing how much I can earn from each policy sold. But my cost of doing business is just rising and rising and rising. And it's only when then I get tools like these, or digitization we've been working on for eons. But yet we've got so many paper-based processes, it's not even funny. And now we can finally say that, okay, let's start, and hopefully, the regulations will start falling in place. Again, I'm saying hopefully, because it's dependent on someone who probably isn't thinking there yet. Again, hopefully they will realize it, and regulations will allow me to say, okay, I don't really need this paper anymore. Let's completely make it electronic. Let's use AI I mean, AI is coming everywhere, as rightly said. Even if I don't want it, it's going to be there. It's going to be in the television, it's going to be in my phone. So whether I want it or not is not the question. It's there, but it's how effectively am I going to be able to utilize it.
Shariq, sir.
Well, the challenges, I think, the challenges that we are currently facing with our implementations are really two main challenges that we see right now. Number one is training part. How do you train the AI model or the different subject matters within the bank so that the bot does not hallucinate? So that's one thing. Yeah, and then be creative at the same time. So because when you train it too much, it becomes boring. So that's one thing. And number two, when you talk about having a local LLM or locally hosted model, you need GPUs. So procuring these GPUs, these the infrastructure right now seems to be a little bit of challenge, and we don't have those cloud offerings or within Pakistan where you can go and simply put your models there and run from there and scale as you require. So I think these are the two challenges. Otherwise, everyone within the bank, I've seen everyone is excited and they want to do a lot of experimentation. So these are the two main challenges that I've seen.
Great, sir.
I think that fundamentally three hurdles beyond what Shariq mentioned. The first is that mental block. Sabse pehle niyat hai, can I do it, should I do it? And accepting that no, I won't lose my job is going to become easier. Then the second challenge that most people in Pakistan face is, who do I get this from? Mujhe to nahi pata. Acha. So let's look out. So somebody from the US or Europe or China is going to have this. Or somebody in the Middle East might be the one who's going to bring us all this. So how much is it going to cost us? Oh God, dollars. पैसे कैसे देंगे? पेमेंट कैसे करेंगे? अच्छा, और फिर मजे की बात ये कि तीसरा जो चैलेंज है वो ये है कि अगर लोकली आपको कोई मिल जाता है, like a friends here, right? So questions around the boardroom are, or rather the table, the decisioning tables are, कौन और दूसरा कौन है? ये तो एक है. How do you know what he said is the right thing? Why don't you look at other options? And that conversation that keeps going on and you never arrive at an outcome, and it dies a slow, painful, bureaucratic death. Right? Now, the final hurdle that nobody sort of goes across, abhi tak itne log nahi aaye, and Shariq touched upon it from a technology point of view. But it's an interesting thing, right? You get across, you overcome all these three challenges. The fourth one is the quality of data. And God help our data capturing business that we've done for eons, right? It's absolutely abysmal. Banks के पास तो फिर भी relative amount of data है, Like if you go outside of the well-regulated industries of financial sectors, the insurance sectors, SECP say around, do we go ahead? We don't actually A, have good data, B, there's no central source of truth, there's no one source of truth. So the beauty of AI is it builds and it performs as well as the data that it is able to get inputs on, to be able to generate and give you the decisions. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So ye jo 4 key hurdles and I think they've got to have these overcome before we really start banking on the beauty of AI and what it can offer us.
How do you see it because you talk with a lot of customers, right? When you go in a conversation, and what I can see is with the financial sector, they want to put up their GPUs on site and they have strict regulations around it. So what challenges do you see?
I have news for Shariq. So probably this GPU problem, because we're working with large 5-6 enterprises in the banking industry. GPU was one big problem that came in the middle of my projects, right? My team somehow magically was able to optimize our LLM models to run on CPUs as good as GPUs, probably better on GPUs. So we are doing local deployment LLMs at 3-4 large banks where we're deploying it and optimized it on CPUs. So, but I think as we were talking about challenges, I think one biggest challenge that I see is the appetite to take risk and the appetite to go beyond your comfort zone. I think that does not exist because you cannot open yourself to the world without taking benefit of AI, right? Because we talk about public data, you don't need to take it's a whole world out there, you take advantage of that. But if I may just talk about some use cases that we've been working on, so customer experience is one. Even if I would say, so for example, you have these AI agents in audit and compliance, and for example, in a factory, for example, what we were doing is that right now an uptime for a problem was 7 days. And what we were able to do is ingest all of that data or regarding that machinery, and then all the past RCAs, that last fixes, we annotated that data, explained it, what this means, what this diagram means. Now all a non-technical person goes, takes a picture of that machinery, says it's heating up, awaaz aa rahi hai, ya garam ho rahi hai, whatever, and sends it to the AI agent. The AI agent within seconds will scrape through the blogs, scrape through the manuals, scrape through the past RCA, step by step, give you a fix to that problem, which the uptime now has gone from 7 to 3 days. Right, this is just in a pilot. The use case is sky's the limit, honestly, with what we are doing with organization. You can create an AI sales army, for example, literally, and not hire exuberant amount of sales resources, and maybe utilize them in some other area and reskill them. And yeah, service agents. I mean, you have any customer experience agents. There's one bank that we're sort of deploying. There are 20 humans sitting and responding to the chats that come on WhatsApp, website. Now, after deploying AI agents for customer experience, they have 2 people sitting, right? So they probably, the 18 will need to reskill themselves in something else. So yeah.
So everyone has talked about what AI can do and how the organization can benefit of it. So my next question to the panelists is, what do you think is the downside? We're looking at the upside, there's so much upside and everyone is talking about the upside. What do you think about the downside? What are the few of the cons you see can be when, if you go into an organization where there's a lot of adoption of AI? So let's try to focus on some of the downsides as well, if there is any.
I think the only downside that is really going to bother is people management. That perception ke mera kya hoga, excess employees ho gaye to unka kya karenge, unko nikal denge, unko retrain karna padega, uski ek alag cost hogi, uski ek alag effort hogi. Dekhiye, otherwise to everything else will be work in progress. I've implemented it. Maybe like he mentioned, the sales agent, the electronic sales agent. That would be a godsend for me, right? So I've got an electronic sales agent. कभी उसने कुछ गलत बोल दिया या कुछ गलत सब जो कि एक इंसान भी कर सकता है, तो मुझे उसकी ट्रेनिंग थोड़ी करनी पड़ेगी, मुझे उसको थोड़ा फाइन ट्यून करना पड़ेगा, उसके हो जाएगा. So everything will be work in progress and everything can be improved. But ये जो people management वाला जो aspect है, and if this starts taking hold across large portions of the economy, So yes, there will be, because again, sachi baat hai, as an organization, I'm implementing it because I want efficiency. And efficiency means I'll be able to do more things with less cost, with less resources. That's what efficiency is. Now that doesn't mean I want to get rid of the people. Maybe I can retrain the people and use them for something else. I want them to do better work. Hamare jo maashre mein mindset, in fact this I remember from my time at Meezan, in alternate distribution, where I used to tell the team that look, the mindset in the West is people are expensive, technology is cheap. हमारे मुल्क में उल्टा होता है कि जी टेक्नोलॉजी महंगी है मैं 2 आदमी रख लेता हूँ मुझे 2 आदमी नहीं रखने मुझे उनसे बेहतर काम करवाना है I want to give them double the salary because they can do better work. So once I think the only hindrance I see is that people management, both at a management level, at an organizational level, as well as down the line where it comes to dealing with the individuals themselves. Because again, if I have a sales agent going to talk to a customer versus I have an AI agent going to talk to a customer, गलतियां दोनों साइड से हो सकती है. Initially maybe the customer will say नहीं जी मैं मशीन से बात नहीं करूँगा मुझे तो इंसान से बात करनी है. आपको याद होगा शुरू के दिनों में if the bank lady at the call center or the gentleman asks you for your mother's maiden name or your mother's name, oh people would be offended. मैं सुन चुका हूँ गालियाँ देना शुरू कर देते वालदा का नाम पूछ रहे कौन है तुम पूछने वाले. Now nobody blinks an eye. पहले हम स्टेटमेंट देते थे तो उसमें सिग्नेचर नहीं होता था तो लोग वापस ले जाते थे सर साइन तो करें वरना तो कौन मानेगा इसको. अब कोई नहीं पूछता. So yes, there will be work in progress. People will require change, but eventually they'll be okay with it. But this managing those resources that I am decreasing because of efficiency, personally I think that will probably be the biggest challenge that society will see.
I mean, we'll have to adopt it, we'll have to grow with it, and we'll have to sort of internalize it. But then how do we reallocate, rescale, the resources? That is going to be some challenge. But then I think we do have some time for it because right now it is still experimentation days. We are doing a lot of learning and experimentation, which of course over time we'll try and see how do we adjust with all of this. So primarily I agree with him. Yeah.
So with Zohair Saab, I'll ask him a different question because he's saying we need to close and wrap it up. There's no downside which I could think. It's a cultural change, you need to retrain and you're going to put...
The two things, yeah.
Okay.
One is the ethical aspect.
Okay.
Right? It's very... No. Regulation is another thing, but ethical aspect, right? The AI is not human, no emotions. So based on the algorithms that you build, there could be some biases against certain applications or certain type of personas, ethnic minorities for that matter, right? इस type के को account नहीं खोलना है, loan नहीं देना, insurance की ज़्यादा premium charge करना, that biases can come in because it's based on the kind of model that you're going to build. The second thing is so because आप rely eventually करेंगे आपने medically आपने advice ले ली सारी को AI ने आपको बता दिया, but would you rather like to hear it from a human doctor that some bad news, or would you rather have an AI just say कि भाई आपको cancer है stage 4 खत्म अगले 3 माह में आप you're no more, and that's what AI is going to tell you. Now you can create some conversational elements to sort of tone this down, but it will never replace, or rather, let me not say never, it will, in this current sort of scenario, will not replace the key element of human aspect that AI cannot take over.
So just continuing on that, can you add what are the security risks you see in adopting AI as well? I'll put one more question on the regulations, but what are some of the security risks you see?
So where do you host the data? Where does it get processed? We've spoken about GPUs, what about cloud? Cloud computing, right? Where is the data going through? Who's the decision maker? AI, a lot of people think it's a black box. So then was chali jati, and then there's some things that get out of it. And that's what people think it's a magic box. Who builds that model? Uski kya competency hai? Uske paas to koi ulterior motive nahi hai. क्योंकि lending, for example, human interaction होती है तो there is a 4I principle, there is a risk manager, there is an underwriter, then there is an operations guy, there is a compliance guy, there is a product manager, there are multiple लोग. AI ने आपको decision दे दिया. Do you trust that decisioning, or do you want to then get some intervention into it?
Great. Going back to the, any one of you can answer this. What are some of the regulators doing in terms of setting up a framework for AI? Because I think banking is the most mature regulator we have, and I'm sure SCCP regulates insurance industry. So either Shariq Saab or Azeem Saab can just answer this question in terms of regulation.
So in terms of regulation, I think State Bank is very, very, up there. And they have only recently, just last week, we have received one draft circular for one draft paper from the State Bank where they have advised banks to regulate AI within their institutions, and right up to the board level, it needs to be approved and it needs to be regulated, and they have given certain guidelines over there. So I think the State Bank is pretty aware of this thing, and they keep track of it. They keep asking us what use cases are we planning to do and how it's going to be implemented and will impact. So I think a regulator will only support this initiative.
So I think that's we have
one point, security की point of view से आपने बात करी security. So I think banks have always worked in a very conventional method, closed loop, right, and not very comfortable with opening up their doors in terms of networks and everything. So we've come across, and we've, whenever the security team comes in with their list of compliance of 300 possible compliance metrics. So that is a challenge. Banks are still trying to learn from that. For example, latency क्यों आ रही है, वो firewall एक end पे active है, तो वो firewall करेंगे तो. So there's a lot of learning right now at their end as well. But cyber security, the regulator obviously, once they are more easy on these things, so the internal cyber security or compliance, these guys will be a bit mellow on the risk side.
So just to sum up the discussion, I think most of the gentlemen have agreed there's a lot of upside to it. There's a few downside ethical concerns that there's some of the challenges, and especially when you want to have adaptation of the technology on site, the GPU procurement with the NVIDIA chips being short in the market, and especially we come at export regulation as a country as well, so it's difficult to come in. So, and another big thing which I think came out of the discussion, it's more on the cultural side, how, because AI, some of the organizations is quite advanced in terms of where they are, they're already testing a lot of applications, but a cultural shift will be required in the future to have a look at it, and some of the regulation stuff which is being done. So I would like to thank the panelists for their insight on this interesting topic, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this brings us to the end of our evening today. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of this program and this series. This series actually had 10 events that we've done across Karachi for the last 45 days. We've gone to campuses where we've hosted our campus conferences. This is, of course, the culmination of a lot of the work that we have been able to put in the last few months, collecting insights from the local IT industry. One of the challenges, as many of the speakers who've gone past have said, one of the biggest challenges that Pakistan also faces is, one, of course, the storytelling. Our storytelling is extremely weak, which puts us in a place of disadvantage more than anything else. And the other thing is, of course, the reality is that we don't have local data or insights to work with, which, honestly, when we want to tell stories, when we want to convince people about why they should be investing in Pakistan, why they should be looking at Pakistan as a lucrative market, that's one of the things, that there is not enough data to support it. And this is why we have also brought together this program, this extensive program. So you will be seeing right after the summit, early next week, we will also be going live with our virtual dome of the portion, which is, we've had some 40 CIOs and CISOs from across multiple industries talk about local insights on IT strategy, on business transformation, on digital transformation. So a lot of you who've been a part of our CXO Masters Academy and various events that we've hosted, we thank you for sharing your stories with us, and I hope that you will continue to do so. We will, of course, send you all an email out. There are lots of people who've walked up to us today and said, we want to share our transformation story, and that's exactly why we thought it was time that DXO came to life. So thank you for being a part of it. On my closing, I'd just like to call on stage Dr. Shoaib. He's the director at NASDAQ. We'd like to hand over a big thank you to our patrons for bringing this program to life. Can we please have Mr. Ashraf Faisal Khan on stage? Mr. Ashraf Faisal Khan on stage, please.
Thank you, sir.